Now step aside. I'm going to see my mother. Good evening, UN Spacey Wolf Squadron. It's your Wolf Commander Wolf 10, having a bit of fun there, talking about my story ideas as I'm writing this book, Bouncers. We're also talking about a topical topic tonight. We're going back to that, guys. At least until we get to our penultimate stream right at the end of this month, or rather, near the end of this month, where we talk about Outlaw Star. But with me tonight, the lovely Lady of Valor, Leia Plus Size.
Good evening, everyone. This is Leah Plus Size, your lovely Lady of Valor. Thank you for joining us for this topic that we'll be discussing about censorship. I'm sure that you look forward to what we have to say on it, and we look forward to hearing your guys' comments as well. So, as you always know, even though it's topical, we still have fun with it and it gets crazy. So, strap on. You're in for a good ride, and I hope you enjoy tonight's stream.
The Schooner of the Tuna. Schooner Tuna.
Hey, coming at you live from a secret government facility buried deep underground. This is Schooner Tuna, and firstly, I would like to apologize for all of the fish. I know I am not a representation for all fish, but I am, in fact, a representation of amphibioid humanoid. Yes, and that is a word, and I want a quarter every time somebody says it. I am amphibioid humanoid. But the actions reflected in this are going to be rather insensitive in nature and unapologetically offensive. So strap in. You're going to enjoy it.
We have the Hound of the South from up above the Schooner of the Tuna, Dominic Powell.
Good evening or afternoon, everyone. Hopefully you'll enjoy tonight's discussion as we talk about censorship and as each of us give our own opinions on the matter. And like Leah said, we are still gonna have fun as we go over this particular topic as it continues to be pretty much talked about to this very day until ever since its very conception, what is done, its implications, and pretty much how much people from different parts of the world and cultures approach the topic of censorship.
Negro, don't you ever take a breath?
Oh,
Yes, I do.
Good. So, what sparked this topic? It's really mostly about the idea that since these woke shows that are coming out, suddenly there seems to be a need to hide the dislikes, to hide the bad reviews, to hide the negative receptions. You know
Well,
the
'cause
drill,
there,
right?
well, of course, because we can't have any hurt feelings. We can't have, hey, Eloise, we can't just have bad things. I mean, there's no way any of us can turn out a horrible product. Absolutely not. No.
Oh no! Oh no! No, we can't have any of that at all. And those who say otherwise, they don't know what they're talking about.
You know what yeah, but the reason why they're hiding all of these bad dislikes and all of this is simply because they know that their product is crap. They know it. Okay,
They
I'm sorry, but
oh yeah.
and the only ones who probably don't know about it are the writers that they hire, because the writers they hire do not live in our reality at all.
Bear in
And
mind, and this
Well,
is your
I mean,
topic.
it's not. I mean, it's not just that, Schooner. I mean, some of the writers that we're getting today, they're still very green. They don't have the wit and the experience that veteran writers have gained throughout the decades. Who have
of
and
course not.
this does not apply to just TV shows and movies, but also in books, video games, and everything else in between.
Yeah, and I'm also going to say this too. These are not the writers of today are not writers, they're activists, and we're not allowed to say anything bad about activism because they believe they're on the right side of history.
At least we got
yeah.
Cobra Kai this Friday.
Yep,
Mhm.
Cobra Kai.
Which is which is still to the very since the day it came out a year all fairly in recent history. It's the gold standard of how you revive a beloved series.
And Top Gun Maverick is the #1 movie this year. The first
Yep.
year that a Marvel superhero movie is not on the top spot.
Yeah,
Yes.
especially when he says Endgame and Infinity War were the jumping off points for everyone, and people are like either recognizing or admitting that the raw like starts to settle in Phase 3.
Say that again, Dominic.
I said, I said, yeah, I said, so like ever since like Infinity War and Endgame were essentially the jumping off points for everybody uh, for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, as they either recognize or admitting to like to themselves and also to the people that the rot settled in somewhere between Phase 3 as Phase 4 settled in, because so far it is not doing Marvel Studios, Marvel Comics, or any facet of
Yeah,
entertainment any
I get what
favors.
you're saying. You're saying Phase 4 has spiraled out of control.
Yeah.
I agree. I can admit that. I could absolutely agree.
How did we go from Iron Man 1, okay, to Tony Stark realizing the error of his way? You know what I'm talking about, that scene. That scene where he's just pounding and pounding and making the Iron Man armor, to She-Hulk twerking. We
With
have
Mhm.
officially we have officially lost the ship. The ship is gone. It is sunk.
Yeah, not to mention like people are still like they're still like critiquing, well, not just She-Hulk but also other material that are being produced from Marvel Studios that are legitimate, and it's coming from comic book fans as well as non-comic book fans, and yet they're still getting crapped on.
Well, I'm also noticing that just to get back to the topic, is that under the guise of wokeness, there really is a scrutiny about censorship, but it's weird because if you are making a woke show, you can technically do the most uncensored stuff that you ever thought, so long as it's preaching the right views. You guys are
Uh,
noticing that?
oh yeah, yeah. You're saying that you can do the woke show, but it has to be everybody on the same page, on the same topic, or tick the right box and
Hmm.
let it
And
slide.
then you can do some really questionable things that actually would have been censored had the censors been allowed to censor.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of that lately. Yeah, I've been seeing, and it's disturbing. I've seen. I'm trying to think of an example. I can't say it at this time, but I am seeing some things getting away with that would normally be censored or disapproved of, but because it ticks the right box, it's allowed. And one reason is the issue of, I think, of race, for instance. If it is a for instance a white person saying something negative or making a fool of someone who is Caucasian, uh now that's okay. But if it was the other way around, it would definitely be censored, blocked, stopped, kicked off the air, fired, not coming back on.
Hmm.
And that's an
Yeah,
issue I've always said. There's no such thing as an okay hate. Hate is hate no matter what. So
Hmm.
no matter who you're hating
Exceptional hate,
on, conceptual hate.
acceptable
yeah.
hate.
Oh yeah, acceptable hate. Yeah, there's no such thing as an acceptable hate or hatred. So I hear them sometimes, and I hate to bring up the Marvel, but they're doing this a lot, especially with She-Hulk. Right now, as a whole, there is a lot of hatred towards men,
Yeah.
particularly straight white males, and that
Well,
kind of
well, the
Yeah,
thing is,
I
they
bullying.
mean,
started that shit
yeah,
back
I
up
mean,
again. At first, every media was shitting on conservatives. A lot of people were
Mhm.
shitting on the president former president. I mean, but
Mhm.
like now we're back to Hayden Man again. I was like, wow, you guys really went back to that really quick, didn't you? Because
Well,
if I
and
Yeah, I
recall
mean,
correctly,
although to be
Moon Knight didn't even have that kind
yeah.
of.
yeah,
Neither did possibly Miss Marvel.
It didn't have that. I mean, to me,
I
Moon
don't
Knight,
know.
it kind of made a
Well, no.
buffoon out of the lead star. He was kind of
Well,
played like an
no. You
idiot.
you still got that kind of convention. I'm saying like where they stopped for a minute to talk about how a superhero, a male superhero, is doing what is outclassing a female superhero. Even though the female superhero is showing how capable she is in combat. But yet
Mhm.
she's not getting the credit where credit's due. Basically, the whole wage gap symbolism, as I like to call it.
Okay. What were you going to say, Dominic?
Mhm.
Or Scooty or somebody want to? I didn't want to
well,
jump in.
I was going to say like it's not just conservatives that get crapped on, but also moderates, liberals, real
Hmm.
liberals, or just anybody who are willing to speak up like against like the far left like
Mhm.
in media, you know, and when they
So
like point out the
let's put it in a
point
broad
out the
term.
absurdities, like they get
Let's put it in a
Well,
broad phrase,
let's just
real quick.
if we're going to use Marvel as the example, I would say look no further than Phase 4. I mean, look at who all of the villains were in Phase 4 of the Marvel films and TV show. Straight white guys.
yeah.
Mhm.
It was.
Well, in the case
And
It
of
was
Shang
straight
also,
Chi,
white.
a male
It was.
Chinaman.
It
yeah,
was
but like,
straight
well,
white guys.
yeah, but DC Comics and Warner Brothers, like, they're not completely innocent in these either, because like we have like
What
Birds
I'm
of
saying most.
Prey, Prey,
Oh
I
like,
was just
yes.
saying. Yeah, I was just saying though, if we to relate to the topic, if we want to just look at it one and specifically that really encompassed it all, it was Marvel Phase 4 because if you look at WandaVision, the villain of the show is Wanda, but then of course, oh no, it's not actually, it's actually Agatha Harkness. Oh, actually, no, it's Wanda was just misunderstood. And then
Yeah.
after that,
Yeah.
we have Loki. And the bad guy of the show, at first we thought, oh, it's female Loki. But then, of course, you have Loki telling female Loki, no, you're not the bad guy. You're just awesome. Very similar to what they were doing with Scarlet
So
Witch.
wait,
And
who was the villain in Loki, really, per se? Because I could have sworn it was Black King the Conqueror.
yeah,
His ass quickly
Mhm. And then, of
with
course, what?
relative ease. We're talking about King
Yeah.
the Conqueror here.
Yes.
yeah,
And then what was it? And then after WandaVision, what was the movie? Oh, Black Widow. It turns out it's not Taskmaster who's the bad guy, but the straight white Russian guy.
Well,
Uh,
Mhm.
the thing is, the thing is, Black
or
Widow
even,
wanted Winter Soldier so badly
mhm.
to the point where they had to use a pasted white man as the villain. But here's where Robert Redford worked, whereas this dick off didn't.
Well,
Robert
first off, I
Redford.
loved him. First off, this Dickoff, I loved him in The Departed. He was great in The Departed.
Okay. Well, the thing is, one thing I loved about Robert Redford's character. The sad thing about it is that he doesn't have a memorable name for me. I know Leia. So
Alexander Pierce.
yeah,
Yeah.
Alexander
Yes.
Pierce.
Mhm.
Yeah. What made Pierce so fucking compelling is the fact that it's freaking Robert Redford for one.
Hmm.
That
Mhm.
man can talk you into a class session, even
Oh
if
yeah.
you're not majoring in that class. I've seen I've seen about 2 or 3 movies with this motherfucker in. Every time he talks, I'm paying
Yeah.
attention. There's a
Well, and
freaking
that.
movie about look. I'm gonna go on a quick tangent. There's a freaking
Okay.
movie with him and Nick Nolte walking through the fucking woods, and what
Yep.
he has to say had my fucking attention. Even Nick Nolte,
Yep.
who I could barely understand what the fuck he was saying at the time in that fucking movie. But Rob Redford kept me. Look, that the movie's not bad. I forgot what the
Hmm.
damn movie was about. I think it was Walk among the trees or some shit like that. But the thing is, that movie was pretty good. It was basically our generation's Oh, planes, trains, and automobiles. Only difference is that it's kind of like down to earth.
Hmm.
Digressing. The thing is, Robert Redford, going back to Alexander Pierce, he made some compelling arguments as to
Mhm.
he's pushing so hard for this oversight,
Mhm.
this oversight business. He's actually making good points, but the thing is that yeah, we're hearing what Captain America has to say, and we listen what Captain America had to say, and Captain America also made some compelling points, and even then, it was also Nick Fury, the very same guy who also wanted oversight, right?
Yep.
Was jumping in, but the only difference is because Nick Fury represents that controlled nature of it, whereas Robert
Mhm.
Redford, we know that I have to call him that.
Yeah.
Robert Redford's idea is that he's gonna pick out people he don't like, but then again, we also know that he's also in cahoots with Hydra.
And
Hmm.
that's what he represents. He represents the extreme that Nick Fury would not go to.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Among many
Like,
extremes that he already went to, but there are lines that he won't cross.
well, the beauty of that's why Winter Soldier to me personally is a classic, and why you all know it's my favorite MCU film. But that's one of the reasons you just said, Wolf. The thing about Alexander Pierce was he was once a good man. That's what Fury says. Fury said that I would one time I would give my life to this man. So he was probably once a good, reasonable man. And you see it in his qualities. Wolf, as you said, he could talk me into, and he makes a good, compelling arguments. However, I think that he was corrupted by the power of Hydra and that power of,
I
I
don't
can
think he was
take
corrupt. I
down.
think he was in cahoots.
You don't
Well,
It
he
was all
you
based
don't think you don't think at one time he was good, that he always was with Hydra, that maybe he was turned by Hydra, or maybe he was seduced by what Hydra had to offer? Is that what you don't think that?
possibly, possibly,
I think he
but
was
at this
I think
point,
he was I think he was seduced by Hydra because it's implied that he was seduced by Hydra because he says to Nick Fury, he says that diplomacy was a holding action, it was a band-aid. And do you know where I finally saw the light? It was Bogota. Your actions, what you did, Nick. You didn't ask, you just did, and you ended up saving lives. And I realized that day that I needed to do the exact same thing.
And that's what, yeah. But I
oh,
think like
this is coinciding with censorship, guys. Don't worry.
Yeah.
it is, because I think that's, again, that's what makes that film work, because people forget the argument that the film poses. We all know that Hydra and Shield are two sides of a coin,
And
but
it's
yeah,
about ideology as well.
yes, yeah.
It's about individual liberty versus universal safety. And and that's what Alexander Pierce represents. Hydra had evolved the argument. I mean, they were the same argument. Hydra wanted control over a chaotic world, but then they just simply said, I mean, look at the state of the world that you're in right now, okay? Look at all of the terror, all of the fear, and we need to make sure all of you are protected and safe. And people are, I mean, and that was, I mean, this was the echoes of 9/11. That's another thing that made that movie so great, is that post 9/11 world where people wanted safety and security. And
Exactly. Hmm.
Which of course
go
like
ahead, go ahead,
came
Leia.
at the
Go ahead,
cost
Leia.
of individual liberty.
Hang
Yeah,
on.
go ahead, Leia.
Oh yeah, exactly, and that's why Steve was disturbed by what he saw, because that's not what he stood for. Even when he fought in, he says it at the beginning when he was talking to Nick about, we wanted freedom, but this is
Mhm.
fear. Now, if you want to take back to the topic, as Wolf brought out about censorship, there are Alexander Piercers now in our society that feel that we need to take this away, shut this down, because a fear of truth, or
Mhm.
it won't, we won't get the kind of thinking that we want people to think.
We think
So,
that we can
yeah,
bring safety and security to a world if you adopt a one world view, and that anybody who expresses a criticism or an opposing side is immediately pushed off and othered, or said that you're on the other side of that line. and then they try to villainize and demonize. And as a result of that, we get a bad guy that we get in the movie of Black Widow. This is not a villain. Okay, this is not even a good villain. This is a stereotypical caricature. That's what he's supposed to be. This guy has not compelling whatsoever as a Robert Redford Pierce. So our villains are not compelling because Black Widow is no longer a movie, but just a soapbox preach. That's all that was.
Yeah, and that's why.
Yeah, and it wasn't the only one, but a Falcon and the Winter Soldier did that as
Oh
well.
God. Oh,
Not
but that was
Falcon
the
and the Winter.
worst.
No. It's not Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's white men can't Captain America.
That too.
Oh, that's a good one. Okay. Women can't get America. That's a good one. Oh,
Let's
Dominic,
all wait. Let's all wait for Claire to recover.
y'all come up with some singers. I'm sorry. Okay, all right. I'll get back on.
Here you go. Here's a cure.
Oh, stop that! This is. Wolf, stop it. Wolf, no. I have to stick to the serious topic. Stop it. Oh, good. See. Okay.
At least a
What I
cure
was
your.
saying.
These are cure.
Yeah.
These are cure your laughs.
He's not wrong.
We gotta see.
But anyway, Leia, continue.
We have to keep the laughter going, even though we are on a serious topic. Nothing, Dominic, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was going to say nothing was more egregious and terrible on that topic than, as Scooney says, white man can't Captain America. That was full of that kind of preaching you were just talking about. There was no
Soldier bad, terrorist good.
Yes.
Yeah, although oddly enough, like Tim Pool, like during a last election he did with Michael Knowles, like the two of them as well as the rest of his like crew, like they talked about how Falcon and the Winter Soldier actually portray like the Flag Smashers like as legit villains, and they're not wrong. I listened to their arguments on how like it's supposed it's supposed to be showed off like as moderate, which it was close. However, like in the end, like it ended up like falling into the same trappings as a majority of modern day entertainment has fallen since they have started to become not only risk averse but also drinking the Kool-Aid because like
We can't
they
commit
don't
to them being villains because we gotta portray them as people who are doing to get by and to survive.
they're villains.
Yeah,
They killed a lot of people.
they-
What does their survival got to do with the death of other people?
And they killed people.
Yeah.
Okay, don't forget they killed people.
For
And-
what?
Yeah,
Exactly?
and
But
also
the bad guy, the bad guy in the movie is you've got to do better, Senator.
yeah, again.
Ladies and gentlemen, anybody who is
again,
I'm sorry.
wait,
I'm sorry. He was he had every right to act the way he did for he had the appropriate response for those guys. I'm sorry. That could be anybody's family that got hurt by those people.
Yeah.
We're supposed to do better.
I'm going to say this right now to anybody listening to this in the backwatch. If you're ever worried about your writing, always remember somebody got paid to write that line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
And keep in mind, as a writer or artist, it's not your job to satisfy a vocal minority within the larger population, because like they didn't come to want escapism, like they want to be preached at.
Exactly. That show, and I have to tell you, that show is egregious because it should have been celebrating the spirit of Captain America and what he stands for. Instead, it destroyed everything that he stood for, and that's what we're seeing even now. starting in the comics, even
Well,
down phase
let's
4.
tie that back into censorship. The censorship of American nationalism and
Yes.
American
Pride.
culture,
Oh, you're seeing
American
that a lot
pride.
lately. American pride, American culture,
No longer saying that
patriot,
pledge of allegiance or
patriotism.
removing God from the pledge of allegiance to the point where it's like now we're going to be pledging other allegiance to other shit that we don't even co-sign to. Pretty soon they're going to have a pledge of allegiance to being gay, to being trans, to being black. We at this point they're trying to remove the American national anthem so that they can have the black national anthem now. And you know what? I'm not gonna be singing that shit whenever time that shit happens. Nor I'm gonna stand for. I'm gonna kneel for that shit.
Yeah, nobody. I
I'm gonna
mean,
fake like I'm in
I mean,
chains
nobody.
too.
I mean, nobody would
This is
want
some
to.
bullshit.
I mean, nobody would want to pledge allegiance to that because I was like,
You supposed to do that shit
what
in
these?
Black History Month, motherfuckers. Not in no national game.
Yet, yet,
Yeah,
as Morgan Freeman said, Black history is American history. So
No shit,
why relegate that to a whole month?
right?
the
But
national
the thing is that, like I said, the national anthem, not the national anthem, the black anthem is supposed to be sung on any kind of event that you're having in Black History Month. Period. Last time I checked, but now they want that in every national holiday. Man, fuck off. You got what you want and then some.
the national. Oops, we lost Scooney. There's Scooney again. The
Hello.
national. Look, the national anthem is exactly what it says. Um, it is for everybody. It is for everybody. That's the way I was
Hmm.
told when I was raised. The words of that meaning belongs to everybody. We're all
Oh, you haven't been
Americans.
conditioned yet. You have been deconditioned yet. You've been conditioned to love America too much.
Well,
Well,
and that's the problem that
Yeah,
we had with.
even if you like read the unabridged edition of the national anthem, and while it may like raising like eyebrows, like you understand like why the other portions like of the anthem was taken out, and we have the anthem that we're familiar with.
There's actually original version of it,
Mhm.
Yes,
and it was bad. How? Why? This is new knowledge to me.
No,
well,
there's the full. If you read the full national anthem, because they had to condense it down, the
mm-hmm.
full national anthem. Some people say raise an eyebrow, but it's not. You got to also remember that the national anthem was written
Oh yeah,
at a different time.
oh yeah,
So the national anthem that is being sung is what we are championing. We
yeah,
champion the first verse. The
yeah.
next
So
verse, if you can see, it's dated because oh wow, shocker, shocker, it was written years ago. So of
yeah,
course they're making references to things that no longer exist. If they sang the full national anthem right now, people would be like scratching their heads like, what?
yeah. So again, like while it may raise eyebrows, because like at the time when I learned about this, yeah, it took me by surprise. However, when I stop and think I recognize I was like this was this was written from a time that was long since passed. So I not only understand like why it was condensed, but also appreciate like how and why we got the national anthem that we have, and it should never be disregarded in any way.
I agree. And also, let's look at that subject of patriotism and for censorship. Now, we're seeing that is the censoring of patriotism. Marvel wants to get rid of Captain America because he's Captain America. So we can't have that because the hatred of being patriotic. He's okay as long as he's a black man or another minority or a woman. Superman can no longer say truth, justice, and the American way. I mean, characters, I'm trying to think of other characters. Those are the two that come to my mind right now. Punisher
Um,
skull logo is being trained. I mean, X-Men can no longer be said X-Men anymore. X people or mutants. We got to take the X-Men out. Patriotism is also being censorshiped a lot
You mean
because
censor, not censorship.
oh, yeah, censorship is, but I think patriotism is being affected by that because of the fact that they want to take out. For some reason, they think patriotism is villainous.
Mm-hmm.
They
Well,
think it's absolutely villainous, and now we're seeing that it's a little thing, but it's you have to notice these little things, particularly in pop culture. I mean, you can look at it in everyday life, but I'm noticing that a lot. The reason they want Captain America gone is because he's patriotic, and they don't like patriotism. For some reason, they see it as an evil thing, and so they took it upon themselves to say, we have to get rid of that. As Wolf said, it can't be to love to one's country. It has to be a love to a person or thing or a lifestyle.
So
that's the,
why don't you
I mean,
fucking get
the
off
reason
my
why
damn
some
continent and get your ass an island if you don't like the physical continent?
Mm-hmm.
well, the reason why some people think patriotism is villainous because they're focusing on the extremist side of patriotism.
And
Because
they're
what
also telling people to take a what is it, a postmodernist look at the world today. And
yeah, which
postmodernism,
I'm
I hate,
sorry, I'm sorry, but I'm not in any way we're going to take a postmodern look at America or anything. So you can get out of here with that.
well, the reason why I turn off any idea of looking at anything in a postmodern lens is because postmodernism is saying look at everything through a critical lens and with a cynical outlook.
Exactly. Exactly. There's a lot of, he's right. There's a lot of cynicism. I hope I'm saying it right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I see an increase in it among society. They're very, because this society has become very cynical, very, very
Mm-hmm.
cynical of things. So Scooney is right. I'm noticing that more and more. Um, they believe in, I'm trying to tie it into pop culture bits. I hope I'm explaining it very clearly. But let's take the idea of a hero, for instance. I think a lot of people are turning or backlashing on heroes. Not the fact that the films are bad, is because they just feel no such human being can be good in this world. That's impossible to believe in anything. At some point, everybody's bought or everybody sells their soul or everybody does something wrong.
It's
No
not
such
censorship,
thing is.
Leia.
Is that not censorship? Oh, well,
No, no, it's
well,
going. Actually, it's work.
It's
Actually, no,
it's
Leia,
course
you are
correcting.
tying. It's
oh,
you're doing it perfectly. Actually, it's not just self censorship. It's rewriting history under a guise of no, we're just merely improving upon it, which
Yeah,
is not true because they say, oh, we're all just about making it better in harmony, and it's no, they're not.
no,
There is a
no.
very I mean, first off, yeah, and I'll believe that when I discover that Rick and yeah, and after believing that, I'll say, you know, the show Rick and Morty, it's actually a really good family-friendly show. No, it's not. Rick and Morty is by far the most hateful show I have ever seen in my life.
Oh, I have to agree with you on this, Cooney. I'm not a fan. I've seen a few episodes and I've never fell in love with it.
I mean, that show embraces and is
Rather watch regular
unapologetic.
show.
Regular
Yeah.
show, at the very least, yeah, it had
What?
regular show had a cynical look of things, but there were good things to find. There were good people, and they weren't these. I don't know, Rick and Morty. These people are monsters.
Yeah, I mean, regular show is actually anything is on a hopeful note because even because in spite of some of the cast turning out to be cynical, not everyone turned out that way. So it found like in the middle ground between like the sliding scale of idealism and cynicism. So like because again like in the end and like things ended on a hopeful note for everybody.
That's what I like too about regular show is that yeah, while everybody had that, like we were saying, a cynical outlook on things, there was a time in the show where they all realized we all got to grow up, and we all got to realize that you know what, things are not as bad as we originally made them out to be.
You know what's crazy about my regular show?
What's that?
Fucking kill me when they had real guns in the cartoon. besides gargoyles and many other shows that allow many cartoon shows that allow guns.
Hmm.
Also Batman, the anime series, Justice League, Superman, and as well Static.
I'm talking about full on guns.
Oh yeah.
Can I ask you guys a question?
Yes, of
Just for
course.
a second, I'd like to backtrack when we were discussing the Winter Soldier movie. Now,
Hmm.
because I'm bringing this question up because I'm going to tie it back to the censorship issue what we're seeing now. Knowing what we know about Alexander Pierce and how he was thinking, could that be a reason why perhaps Pierce or maybe Shield at best felt it was they had to get rid of Captain America because they knew that he would stand in the way of all of that.
Hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. They knew it was.
Yeah,
They believed though that they could kill Captain
Fucking
America
flag smashers.
with just like with Project Insight. They were basically going to be killing everybody. I mean, that's why I love that scene. They were going to kill Iron Man. They were going to kill the president from Iron Man 3. They were going to kill Tony. They were going to kill. They were going to kill everybody. They thought, oh yeah, we can end them all with just one push. So we just got to put up with Captain America's shenanigans for a while.
which which when you stop to think about it, like where everyone thought Hydra was destroyed in the aftermath of World War II, too, like they were all everyone was surrounded by the sense of like peace and comfort to now realize that Hydra like infiltrated Shield and other areas of government like right under their noses without even realizing it because like they were all being comforted by the peace and serenity they achieved in World War II and afterwards.
Yeah, and that's why again, that's why that movie is so perfect because you talk about the scene where Zola tells Steve how they were successful infiltrating Shield for the just reason you just explained. That
Hmm.
they had a false sense of comfort and peace, but they used that false sense to sneak in and do what they had to do.
Well, exactly, and I love that bit too, where it was later revealed in the movie that they said he says the war taught us much. We realized that if you tried to forcibly take their freedoms away, they will fight you. So we had to make it so people would willingly give their freedoms away. So they started feeding into wars and creating a sense of dread, turning neighbor against neighbor, basically the worst parts of the Bible.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, and
And
it's
then
also like
basically says, and now humanity is ready to surrender that final piece. Once we get Project Insight in the air, we will have complete and total control.
once again like echoing what the environment was like post 9/11
Mhm.
and also and not only that but like how Hydra's infiltration in Shield like so you can apply that to the Frankfurt school like
We'll talk about
infiltrating
censorship of
education.
anime next.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Wolf?
I was saying we'll talk about censorship of anime next. Sorry, Leia, this is a topic that you
and
probably have
and
little concern
manga.
over. That too, but
No, censorship affects everything, so you don't have to say you're sorry because if it affects everything, nothing is safe from censorship.
I mean, it's gonna get to
Yeah,
my to what I'm gonna say in this moment of time, especially we're gonna get into that too. But go ahead, guys.
Go
Uh,
ahead, Dominic.
what oh so it's well once again like what helped Winter Soldier is like as they watch the movie, like once the movie it not only reminds people of like what the environment was like in a like post 9/11, but also like it makes them want to go further back in history, like with the Frankfurt School, like infiltrating education, and you see, you understand why the education system is the way it is, and not many people like to put a firm foot down and say no, what this will not pass. So like any sort of dissension, it either gets ostracized or they get blacklisted.
Agreed. And I'm going to say one more thing before we move into we move into the anime. The reason I brought up about Winter Soldier is because that's happening now, because you have a censorship of freedom of thought. You're being told what to think, not how to think. And how they're doing it is they're doing it right now through escapist entertainment. As long as it entertains you, you don't realize you are helping them cut something off. And that is what I think that they're looking at. And that's what they're using right now. Now they know that, well, we just can't bluntly come out and say it. So we've got to find another way to do it. Let's do it through what entertains them. Do it through what they love. Do it through something they've been a fan of for years. And
And
that's what
what
we're seeing
is
right now.
and what
Yeah,
is pop
some
and,
people like think.
and
Some
what
people
is
think that they're
pop
still getting like escapist entertainment. However, if you read between the lines like some of the material that we've been getting, it's not full escapist.
Right.
well, because what is pop culture and what is escapist? It is the ultimate form of artistic expression.
Hmm.
Right. And they are taking away, excuse me, they are taking away that expression because, as you brought out earlier, activists are now taking over these productions and these stories, and they don't want truth.
No.
Censorship means taking out truth. So they want to replace the truth with their
With
ideologies.
relativism,
Yes.
especially more moral relativism.
Well,
Yes.
and
And
it's
subjectivity.
because
They want to replace truth and objectivity with relativism and and subjectivity.
not only that, they also want disunity.
Oh,
Hmm.
Because
absolutely.
if we are together and exchanging ideas and expressing ourselves in
You know,
simple
they keep
debate,
doing this shit for a long time. They're gonna really start to become criminals without saying they're criminals.
well, we already are seeing it right now.
But they believe they're like Alexander Pierce. They believe they are right. They
Hmm.
believe they're doing this for the good of mankind.
It's
Oh,
we're talking about the greater good, the greater good. Oh, shut up!
yeah, you
Well,
put
and then they say, and the problem is that they say that it's all subjective. The greater good is subjective. That's a
Well,
postmodernist
crap.
view. That's a postmodernist view.
Exactly.
So what's relative and what's subjective, and how do they blur into each other, or at least why you keep blurring them into each other? Because every time you bring up the relative and the subjective, you start to one contradicts the other. So that's pretty much telling you why you shouldn't be listening to these dumbasses in the first place, because they contradict themselves all the damn time.
oh yes, oh yes, I absolutely
And
agree.
the more you contradict yourself, the more you have less consistency.
Oh yeah, and so well, see, here's the thing, and maybe you guys could exit out there. Normies aren't catching it. So I think we're catching it. We can see it, but normies are not catching it. They don't see where the censorship of thought that they are doing in these stories is really changing their minds. I hear it all the time, and you guys would explain this to me. Like, well, She-Hulk is woke, but it's not that woke. And like, what is not that woke? Is there a meter for woke? Is there good meter, bad meter, awful, run away from it meter? I don't know, but they don't stop to ask themselves questions. They just sit there and suck it up and not asking themselves. We catch on to it, but they don't catch on to it. And I'm noticing that. I think that's why it's been so successful seeping in. And for us who do catch on to it, you get shut down. A director is fired, an actor is fired, a commentator is taken away. As Wolf said at the beginning, certain comments, critiques are taken away. Anything that will take you outside of that bubble. But it amazes me how normies just don't catch on to it.
It's such a show, but it can be done by anybody, right? Anyone who leans too far to the left, as well as those who lean too far to the right. It's, nobody, regardless of who's doing it, show like does nobody any favors in the long run because it just leads to stagnation.
Yes, it does, and it's scary. It's scary to hear someone say that I'm doing this for society. We're doing this for the greater good. You
They
poor
don't
little.
realize that when they throw a curtain over every damn thing, nobody's not gonna know what's good, what's bad, what's gonna harm them, what's gonna hurt them, what's gonna make them feel uncomfortable. They're gonna basically null the masses' sensories to really like know what the sensory of the brain picks up on. A scene
Well,
that makes you cry, a scene that makes you hateful, and or not necessarily hateful, but makes you angry, or another scene that makes you disgusted. Like you can't really tell if you keep holding up a blanket in front of it.
well, it's also due to low attention spans. It's that now with so many things online, we're literally getting people who have just such short attention spans that they don't want to sit and ponder certain things. I mean, it's like what it's what Mark was just saying.
Yes,
Uh,
that was a good quote.
People are just become so numb. They just don't want to. I don't care anymore. And it's that apathetic attitude that's really aiding them. It's like,
I
oh,
bleed it out, dig it deeper, just to throw it away. I bleed it out, dig it deeper, just to throw it away, just to throw it away, just to throw it away. I bleed it out.
yeah,
Oh yes, because I'm hearing that more often. Those, and then again, I'm not knocking anybody here. I'm not calling you guilty, but I'm not picking on you. But I've heard people say, "Why are they tolerating She-Hulk?" And they say, "Well, yeah, man, I know it's stupid. I know it's woke, but look, man, I just want to be entertained." I'm hearing that a lot lately. I just want to be entertained. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know it is. I just want to just get
Entertained by
entertainment.
Well,
what?
what they
Her in
don't.
a pantsuit twerking?
Yeah.
That's your entertainment. Negro,
What they
watch
don't.
a strip club video. It's on YouTube.
or heck, you know
Watch a
what? You
pole
know what?
What they
dance
don't.
video. It's
Yeah.
on YouTube.
All right. What they don't realize is they're proof
There's a lot of
is
twerk
they're.
videos you can watch on YouTube
A lot of
for your
Besides,
entertainment.
them.
well, besides that, like what these people don't realize, like they're proving Demolition
The
Man,
bitch don't even
Video
save the
Drone.
day. She barely even go superhero heroine.
Yep.
She's trying to be Daredevil without being Daredevil.
Oh yeah.
Hmm.
May I
Sorry,
continue?
Dom. Continue.
What these people don't realize, they're approving Demolition Man, Videodrome, and they live right.
Yeah, you're right, because you make a good point. Those films, even though they're science fiction, they are based on
The bitch can't even lawyer right.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Well,
and the fact that the showrunner
How the
and
hell
writers
you
like
fuck
admitted.
up the basic concept of She-Hulk? Yeah, she goes pounding dudes left and right, but she also slams in the fucking courthouse. How the
The
fuck
fact,
is she better her job in the comics now?
like, don't forget, Wolf. The showrunner and the writers admitted they don't have knowledge on like the
So why is you
on
writing
justice
the
and what
damn
on
show?
the justice system, like the legal process, and
You
they,
know,
they didn't
well,
they, they
can I
didn't they
just
didn't
say?
hire anybody who they didn't,
y'all,
they didn't
you
hire
know
any
about that.
advisors or
Yeah.
otherwise, so like who can actually help them. No,
Well,
since
Right,
this
there's
is
two
a
easy.
legal draw mixed in with superheroics.
you
There's
know
such
that one
an
black
easy
bitch I was
solution
talking
What
to,
to
the
that one teacher that shot at why the fuck you took the I want to play that clip for them for these dumbasses whenever time they say some shit like that. Why the fuck you took the job?
The answer and the solution to that is actually very simple. Okay. Yes, I get it. I mean, Better Call Saul just ended, so why not just borrow some of that? I mean, I know people would say, oh, that's a ripoff of Better Call Saul, but you know what? It's supposed to be a courtroom drama. And not only that, that meme that has basically made the rounds all over the place about She-Hulk basically trivializing Bruce Banner's anger and his pain.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
am gonna just
which really is not. which will not do the show any favors in the long run, because like what the showrunner the writers like, well, they not only like don't do the research, but they don't understand on how and why Bruce and the Hulk all became the people that they are in the comics, as
They
well
have
as in
enough
Marvel's
time
cinematic universe.
to bitch about
Also, also
dudes.
they Jennifer and Bruce, like they have a close friendship because he stayed with Jen and her family after the death of his mom by his father.
Let's get back on topic, guys.
Yeah.
Here's the
Let's move on
thing.
to anime and manga real quick.
Well, what I was going to say about anime is, as goes back to the noticing another type of censorship is femininity, which we see a lot in anime and manga. Very feminine, the feminine form, females. But now, and I do see it, maybe, and Wolf, if you don't see it like I do, you're free to express yourself. I see that as a form of censorship. Their rule now to avert the male gaze. So women are now downplayed their femininity. Women cannot look like women anymore. Women
I thought
cannot have
I
curves.
thought a
A
woman
woman
was
can,
supposed to express her sexuality by showing it off.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but they're
Yeah, it's,
taking that away.
yeah,
Because
yeah.
adults are starting to
Again, like
notice yet again. They want to avert the male gaze. They always want to have an excuse as to why they want to change gears.
Yeah.
Every single time you come up with an excuse to change fucking gears. Now you don't want that no more. Now you want more. Now you want to be Amish.
Well,
there's
You
that's
set,
the
can't
thing.
even be
they're,
Amish.
they're set, that they're setting women and girls back, and yet they don't see that. Which is crazy.
I think they do. They just deny it. I'm
Well,
beginning to
Well,
think that
well,
they
here,
do. They just deny it.
like what just building off of what Leia said is that they're doing it to avert the male gaze. Well, good job, they've averted the male gaze, but now they're complaining, "Why aren't you gazing at me?"
Exactly, exactly,
yeah,
Well,
exactly.
you brought up
that's the
a
cruel
good part of
irony.
censorship.
I
Remember they put Jessica Rabbit in a fucking trench coat now,
oh,
or
that's
Uh-huh.
ridiculous.
how they took away Leia's iconic bikini.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Well, of course,
The more
but the
times I
people,
see shit
but
like
people
that, I'm
laugh.
like, why are y'all fucking with old shit?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all can
Well,
do that with y'all new shit. Y'all can put Ray in a fucking Patel sack all you want. That's y'all new shit. Y'all fine to do. Y'all fine. Y'all free to do that shit. Why you fucking with Georgia's shit? Because you own
well,
it.
some are shown to be creatively bankrupt. Instead of creating new material,
I'm talking
they
about
want
the.
to like
I'm
run
talking
on
about
the
the covering.
coattails of the.
I'm talking about the covering. Like they decided to change Return of the Jet. I'm like bitch. What? Why are y'all doing that? I'm gonna tell you right now, y'all, bruh. If I ever do any of my shit and they take some of my shit, they think they can, like, no, I'm gonna do what Don say. I'm gonna fucking make sure y'all don't touch any of my shit.
Yes.
Well,
You can showcase my shit, but don't think you can change my shit, or else I'm gonna
put it
shit
in.
on y'all heads individually. And
Or
I ate a
put
big ass burrito.
Um, make sure, like, as I would do it, like, put it in bold letters, and in the text, like, of the contract is there will be no X swaps of any kind.
Yeah, you're
Damn
right. Like,
right.
well, Wolf is right. In the Wicked Queen's reign of terror in Disneyland, they did remove all images of Leia in her metal bikini from Return of the Jedi. They took away all these pictures, and
That's
it certified
somebody's
and prized
baby,
now.
motherfucker.
Yeah, and also
Leia
Carrie Fisher,
is.
like, she never her and Leia, they never complain about wearing that. And
You know
if you know the
something?
context, not just fan service.
I'm not even. I'm too hyper right now, but a thought just came to mind. Wouldn't that be disrespecting the dead?
It would be, yes.
I
Like,
agree.
could they not have been given permission by the real Leia herself, Carrie
Carrie
Fisher, to
Fisher.
not do that?
I
Yeah,
Like
think
like
Carrie.
like
yeah.
Quite frankly, I actually saw a documentary with Carrie Fisher. I love Carrie Fisher because there just came a point in her life where she was just. I think she was just doing these Star Wars movies for the money. I
Yeah, but
really do.
I think what I think here's the thing about the middle bikini. I didn't care. The only thing I thought about is that she choked Jabba the Hutt with his own chain
Hmm.
in that metal bikini. I
Exactly.
love
Yeah.
that. It is one
you
of the most.
know,
She
she's
used
in
the
a
very.
desert. The less clothing she wear, the less hot she gets. Or rather, well,
Right, it makes sense.
there's a conundrum there. That just made a
It is.
conundrum there.
Yeah.
Like like like
But
like
I like
damn,
what
she's
I
still
like.
hot either way.
I like what. But I like what Leia was saying. She used the instruments that were supposed to be quote unquote her humiliation to destroy that whom has bound her.
She
Yes.
she David Carradine his ass.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It-
Rest his soul. Sorry, David. Then
and she basically
y'all
saved.
know how he went out, right?
Oh yeah.
Yes, I
Yeah.
remember.
Uh-huh.
Yes,
I'm not
yes,
sure if anybody else in the chat knows how David Carradine went out. If y'all don't know who that is, Kill Bill. Bill. That's Bill.
Mhm.
yes,
Well,
yes,
Y'all,
also he was also you may also maybe more familiar with him with a TV show called Kung Fu.
yes,
and they fucking made a remake and appropriated the culture for that one.
yes. That nobody watched. But with yeah, with that, that back to Leia real quick, and I'll get off of it. But that got a thunderous applause in the theater when she did it because she's basically saved herself.
Oh
If you
yeah.
guys really
Hmm.
think about it, she really saved herself because
I
even
don't think
though,
it's more about her
yeah,
being able to save herself. She's a fucking hero. She killed a fucking vile villain.
yeah, she
Yeah,
did,
I
and
was happy when she killed. I'm just saying, I was happy when she killed his ass because that motherfucker was disgusting, and he killed a Twi'lek, and you know killing a Twi'lek is a serious business. You know, a lot of
hmm.
us Star Wars fans don't like when a Twi'lek
Yeah.
die.
Oh. Hmm. And lately was just waiting for the right moment to
Too
strike
beautiful
Jabba.
to be harmed.
and she did it with her bare hands. You could see her pulling on that chain. She was gonna take that guy
She
out
stiffed that leg up
herself.
on his ass
Yeah,
so fierce.
yeah, she did.
You see her
Yeah, yes. You see how
held
she
that
is just.
damn leg, and then
Mhm.
he finally just slopped, freaking tail
Yeah.
twitching, and then slop,
Mhm.
twitch,
Uh-huh.
slop.
Mhm.
She wasn't waiting. That's why I don't understand. They're not getting the context of. They're not getting the context of that. All they see is
I
she's
don't
in the
think so.
bikini.
I don't think they watched the movie. I don't
I
mean
don't
to
think so
keep
either.
interrupting
Yeah.
you guys.
I think
I
what,
don't
and
think they
that's the
watched. They don't think they watch these
and
stuff. They
again,
just look at the
that's the
image and they just think
problem.
bad.
Again,
Yes.
that's the
Yeah.
problem right there with censorship is because the people who are complaining about Princess Leia's bikini obviously probably did not watch Return of the Jedi at all,
I
Well, they
and
Yeah.
agree.
just think it's
just
an
simply
unfairly.
and we're just taking what somebody
Yeah,
had told them that was
Yeah.
just senseless fan service right there.
Which
Which
is actually a perfect segue to censorship in anime and manga,
yeah,
as well as light novels.
Yeah.
Because lately, because we've been getting a lot of that. That over here in the West, but more so from dubbing studios as well as translators.
And what I was going to say about that is, as far as manga is, because one last thing, I just want to make this up. I think also the people that are doing this, because let's go back to mama, because in what I have seen from the suggestions from Wolf and from all of you, the women are very feminine, very female, the female form, very curvy, everything that is beautiful about a female in anime and manga. I'm no gentleman if I'm wrong, but from what I've seen, and I'm not complaining because that is the female form, so it doesn't bother me. But I think the women that do this censoring of women, I think they're mad because they don't look like that.
yep,
I think they don't look like that. That they're it's back to what you're saying, Scooney. They gave in to the feminist idea of looking ugly and downgraded and not feminine form, and now they're angry. Men aren't looking at them, and they're saying, "Why aren't you
Yeah.
looking at me? Because I'm all natural. I'm all." Less. I'm hiding my female form. So why aren't you finding this attractive? And they don't get it. So they're lashing their emptiness out on these characters. Now, back to anime and manga, and again, you guys let me wrong. are the women not curvy or look feminine from what you guys know, from what I've seen?
Mm-hmm. Well,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's the whole.
still curvy and feminine. Although to be fair, like when we're talking about feminism, we're talking about feminism in its current form, the third wave feminist, not the feminists of before.
Yeah, but they're taking. You're right. What I'm saying is they're censoring that away. When I look at the animes that I have seen, you guys suggested the females are very feminine, curvy, and I'll say the word sexy. So
Mm-hmm.
now
Mm-hmm.
they want to censor sexy, but because
Well,
they think sexy is oh no, oh shame on us, woo hide the ankles, they're taking it back to the pilgrims, and in that period in that period of time period, but
The Puritans essentially.
yeah, that's what I was trying to say. A Puritan view of sensuality. And from what I've seen in anime and manga, the women are very sensual and very sexy, but I don't see it in a sexist way. From what I have viewed, from what you all have, because I can't think of any characters. You guys are more knowledgeable of anime and manga than I am. That's why I'm
mm-hmm.
asking the women that you see. Is it sexist, or is it just that is just the female form?
Well,
It,
exactly.
it's just a it's just a female form, and men and women and continue to appreciate that, whether it's coming from Japan or Hong Kong and South Korea.
Well, China. I'm going to say this. China really has some massive censorship, but that is like a
No,
whole log
I'm
sermon.
talking about like, but I'm talking about like areas like in China that are not like under constant like censorship like by the mainlands like Hong Kong and Taiwan.
Well, and another thing too is that Japan was never really afraid to show the female form and the virtues of
Nor
femininity, whereas
and nor
here
does
in the
Europe,
West and
or
and most of
nor does
and
Europe
Europe.
or South Korea.
But whereas I'm looking in the States, it's now they like want to write women and even men in this very androgynous appearance. Men have to act more like women, and women need to be more like men.
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
seeing a increase in that,
I'm
and that's what I'm saying.
It's because they want to
I
infect. They
got it.
don't want to. They just don't see themselves. They don't like to see themselves. Well, they see themselves alone. They just want people to share their loneliness.
Well, and
If
not
that
just
makes
share their
sense.
yeah,
Hang
not just
on,
share.
Schooner. Hang on, Schooner.
Okay,
Dominic
okay.
was about to say something. Go ahead, Dominic.
Well, yeah, well, I'm building up what Scooter mentioned. Like in Japan, like not Japan is the only one who like who showcases like the beauty of of the feminine, while South Korea and Europe, especially France. France, like they make no bones about that, and even though like Japan like it's going through like its issues of trying to like bend the knee like to censorship, so like the feminine as well as the masculine are being portrayed as they are like in entertainment and going forward. However, doesn't mean like the threat of censorship should not be taken so lightly.
You were saying, Schooner, and then I didn't want to interrupt you. Schooner,
Well,
you
no, I
wanted
was
to?
just no, I was done. I said what I wanted to say. What were you going to say, Leia?
Yeah, that's why I'm bringing this up back to the censorship. We're seeing a censoring of sexuality, of sexuality, particularly female. I'm seeing
Hmm.
females becoming more masculine looking. I don't see females of like your Jessica Rabbit or your as you mentioned earlier, or your Marilyn Monroe's or
Or even your Black
Leia,
Widows?
or your Black Widows. Yeah, we're not seeing that kind of feminine
Or
beauty.
Jean Grey, Jean Grey,
Yes,
Psylocke, Rogue, Wonder Woman. I mean,
yeah.
we can go on.
Oh, sure, Storm. All of them. That feminine. They are distorting strength and femininity. They feel that, or even Wanda. I have told you guys that Wanda in the comics is not Wanda in MCU. I actually liked her costumes in the comics because she looked feminine, but there's a power behind that femininity. But they're trying to take that away by, I'm sorry, it's too many women looking like men, acting like women, and downplaying the beauty of feminine beauty. There is strength in feminine beauty, and I'm not seeing that. I'm really not seeing that in
Yeah,
comics
they
or
want
in
to look
real
like
life.
I'm
queens.
actually noticing now in a lot of stories they're trying to get women
Yeah, they
who look
call themselves queens.
yes,
Yeah,
who try to look mannish. They're trying to find the most mannish looking woman I've ever found. See, you ever seen?
But I'm sorry, guys. Like, not every, women, not every woman is
Oh, what are
masculine.
you talking?
They're not they're not androgynous like Desire of the Sandman. No, not Sandman the TV show, Sandman of the comics.
Mm-hmm.
exactly. Like you said, you mentioned Wonder Woman, Zatanna. You know, I'm not seeing. I'm seeing them more. It's like they're trying to cut away the feminine beauty, and I think that's and it's a form of censorship because they will say, "Well, we can't have the character look like this. We can't have the character look like that. We have to put them in pants. We have to make sure they're flat chested." No offense to anybody out there that's flat chested, but you guys get what I am saying. And I think that is them overstepping their power. Just like we talked about earlier about Alexander Pierce taking out whoever they feel is a threat. They're doing that now by taking out anything that they feel is not to their ideology, which is the woman, anything that is believed to be feminine or womanly or sensual has to be taken down to be more masculine, manly, like more unattractive, looking more like
Yeah.
them. Not in
I,
a sense,
I,
because I
it's,
think that's
Yet
making
they
fun of
have
kids.
OnlyFans.
yeah, yeah, it's not a
Well, that's the
stretch
funny thing.
girls women actually do feel the same, feel have similar sentiments that we've been expressing for a good long while. However, like they can't say it out loud out of fear of being attacked by the mob. Well, they have to toe the line, or else like they'll be they'll be ridiculed.
Well, yeah, it was just like with Wanda. Yeah, the leather pants and the jacket that she wore in Civil War and Infinity War and Endgame. Yeah, it looks nice, but that's not how originally she was designed. That was not Elizabeth with her concept. Her first costume was this red bodysuit and tights with a cape, which I always thought looked cool. But her outfit has changed over the years. But it
And
never
don't
took
forget the
away.
headdress.
In the headdress, yes, and the headdress. I love the headdress. She had a back then when she was first introduced. And I'm going to ask this to Wolf in a minute, but they understood the feminine body and the curves. That's from her. Um, Mira from Aquaman was a very curvy. A lot of guys said that she was pretty sexy. Now I'm talking about in the comics, not in the movie, because she always wore like this tight bodysuit. But I always said, like in the
In her
movie,
defense, it did accentuate her body type in the movie,
Mm-hmm.
which one? Which
she,
one?
the Aquaman movie.
Okay,
She
yeah,
wasn't looking fat in that one. She it actually did give her
mm,
some shape.
I
She was
agree.
even wearing a dress,
Oh yes, I
a very
agree.
stylish dress. I mean, yeah, she went glow trying and say a glow trying type of outfit, but even then, that still accentuated her body.
I agree with that. I do.
One,
Don't hate the bitch
one
that's wearing the suits or that dress,
good.
but at least Mira was looking really good in that movie.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Like,
even
the
before
bitch
the
that
Aquaman,
portraying her has an ugly personality. That's what made now it's like I can't even own that fucking movie without looking disgusted at that bitch.
Yeah.
even before the Aquaman movie, like when Mira like made her debut in the DC anime universe, like she was captured well by Paul Dini, Bruce Timm, and the rest of the team.
Yeah, she was. Yeah, they knew back then how to draw a female physique, even if the female was the hero. They knew how to draw them, and like I said about Wanda, her outfit is evolved over the years, but she to me, Wanda was more, what's the word I'm looking for? curvy is the word I'm looking for, but she accentuated it. If you look at her history of her outfits, not in the MCU, but in the comics, she sort of accentuated it. She
She
started off with a
accentuated femininity. She
yeah,
had round round hips, a shapely bosom, and it
Mm-hmm.
was
hmm
supposed to show iconic femininity, aka nursing and motherhood.
Yeah, and even like with her even with the evolution of her costume, like they don't stray too far from her original design.
First, no capes. Now, no cleavage.
yeah, exactly. And I do see
And
that as
yeah,
oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Scooney. Go ahead. I was just gonna say I see it as a form of censorship. I do
that is
because
a form of censorship. You're
Hmm.
absolutely right. And not only that, there's a new form of censorship too with man hunks. People like Chris Hemsworth. If they look
Mhm.
like what was it, specimen of man, you have to portray them as incompetent, very dumb, and often the butt of a joke.
Like that,
Basically,
like,
every single Marvel hero has to get the Star Lord treatment.
Yes, I agree.
which if you read the comic books, Peter Quill is not like it's not like that in the source material. Yeah, due to Guardians of the Galaxy, which it is still a fun movie, it did hurt Peter as a character when Marvel Comics decided to make the characters look like their MCU counterparts without an in-universe explanation for their change in design,
Oh, I
or even
absolutely
even a change in personality.
Oh, I absolutely agree. You're right about Peter Quill. Yes, we loved it, but we also know that the film hurt him. And you're also right about how males are now treated because in the comics, Thor is not a buffoon.
No.
Thor
Yeah,
is not a buffoon at all. He is
The
and
very
first
much.
movie,
Mhm.
the first
And Drax is
movie is
and Drax
not
is
so much.
not and
The
Drax
first
is
movie,
not
he's
is
not a
not how he is like in the books as well.
and the first movie, he's not really a buffoon. He is essentially the fish out of water. So he
He's
doesn't
comically
know.
serious.
He's comically
Yeah,
serious.
yeah,
His
Yeah,
customs
yeah.
obviously do not
Yeah,
fit with current.
but turning,
yeah. Go ahead, Dominic.
yeah, but portraying guys like as incompetent buffoons, you're essentially pulling a male version of the dumb blonde.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
That's
good
fine
point.
for them.
Yeah, yeah.
It's all the better for them. It's okay for them.
Yep.
And you're right.
Like,
And
it's crazy. Like, why is nobody talking about this, or why their eyebrows are not raised?
yeah, see, that's the question I'm asking. Why is anybody? Same thing.
I might have an answer for that.
Go do say.
It's because we're brain rotted
Or
from all the
what?
TV. We brain rotted
Ah.
from all the
What?
TV watching to the point where anything is just naturally just the way it is. To the point where even we're just watching it just to be watching it. That's why they were able to slip past it so fast and so well. It's just the fact that we for lack of a better phrase start waking up.
So
We start we started to become more wiser about the storytelling. We started becoming more wiser about back then we were always talking about like Hollywood's running out of ideas. Now they just don't use ideas at all. Well, they don't even have ideas. They don't even have anything to work off with. They don't want anything to work off with because it goes against their politics.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. And
But what
also,
that
William
does
Silva,
is that
you're not
go ahead.
William, you're not wrong. An argument can be made during Bendis' run of Guardians of the Galaxy. Actually, he did incorporate MCU Star Lord's personality into main Earth Peter, but but not too much like MCU Peter, because I was like who he was like back then is still intact, but they decided to like add in like the quirky personality from MCU Peter into 616 Peter, but Peter in the comics is still recognizably only the one that everyone is familiar with, though, like even before the movie. However, well, once again, like the movie like didn't really do Peter or even like Drax like any favors in terms of portraying them like as they like who they are essentially.
So, that's right, Dominic. Wolf, are you saying that we're so brainwashed we don't ask questions anymore about what we're looking at? We're just sitting there
I wouldn't
sucking
say
all in like brownies?
brainwashed, just as we would like to say desensitized. But the thing is that things are starting to run together so much that, like I said, we didn't notice that until later on when we start seeing more of it, when we start recognizing more of it. That's where we started to pick up on it. That's why we're in this era of recognizing propaganda and all that stuff.
If true, if I may, and Dominic, you do have a point as well about the turning into. So that's why I never took to the Shazam film because I felt they made Shazam look like a buffoon, and he's not a buffoon. He's a strong
That
leadership
was
character.
them. I had that
I
too. Not
know.
necessarily. It's not that they made him a buffoon. It's the fact that they think kid transformed into a big guy. He stays a kid in his head. So
Well,
where
And
is the
and
wisdom of
yeah,
Solomon
yeah,
comes in at some
well,
point?
yeah,
When does that kick in? Is he
Yeah.
supposed to have the
yeah.
wisdom of the biblical hero King Solomon?
The answer to that when they made the movie Shazam, like they based Bill they used Billy's New 52 origin for the
Right,
movie instead of his pre New 52 origin, where like when he
right.
transforms into Captain Marvel, he is still himself, but he's more mature and wiser due to the wisdom of Solomon.
Hmm.
yeah,
They
but
think make him a big kid.
and
I
see
didn't like
that
that. I didn't even like him being. I didn't really like him being a this cynical little kid that decides that the wizard chose him because he protected his
He
heart. Bitch, he only stepped in when he felt bad of he only he only stepped in to help Freddy because because of what he was because what would happen if he came back home and Freddy was all beaten up and bloody.
Hmm.
That ain't
which
protecting your heart. That's you.
Yep.
yeah,
That's you thinking about what about the consequences later.
Yep.
Like
what
suddenly your conscience is eating at you. That's what I'm saying.
once again.
Like the only problem I had, main problem I had with Shazam was Billy himself not being written as to be the Billy of the comics, where it should have been.
Again, pre New 52 Billy, not
Yeah.
New 52, which again like it surprised us at the time that Jeff Johns was responsible for the new origin of Billy.
Now,
Which
from what I
I'm gonna
gather
say, which
from
I'm really
Captain
happy.
Marvel of Justice League Unlimited, sorry, Schooner,
No, it's alright.
there there there's a balance there. There's a unique balance of youthful Billy versus Captain Marvel, Wisdom of Solomon, Captain Marvel. Now I'm calling him that because that's what they call him in the fucking show. So fuck off,
Mm-hmm.
okay?
I still,
You ain't
I'm
supposed
still
to
calling.
change that shit.
I'm still calling Billy Captain Marvel in spite of the name change.
I'm just saying, man. Look here. That the way how he talks, the youthful side comes out when you see something amazing. That's where his youthful side just snaps in. Holy moly, you know, or
but
or or when the wisdom of Solomon comes in. Wait, should we ask questions or wait for the Adam or maybe even Batman to come in to expect this? That's where wisdom Solomon comes in at.
Mm-hmm.
There was no wisdom in many of the fight scenes or any like Freddie should not be coaching Billy to save the day. The wisdom of Solomon should be kicking in.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
but I'm not as upset with the Shazam movie because one, I didn't see it. Two, I already got the Shazam that I wanted from the Return of Black Adam DC show.
Hmm.
That
Hmm.
was um, Prestige Billy Batson.
The thing is, like I
Neil
said,
star Jeff Johns. Jeff Johns. Okay. Cinema Batman during the heyday of New 52, but thankfully he walked on it and started to write Billy as he was pre New 52. And
Mm-hmm.
this was during the time of DC Rebirth.
but don't
but
you
they
got?
put the kibosh on that one too.
But again, isn't that the misunderstanding of the writers didn't really? Don't you think the writers just did not capture who that character was? That they
We could
tried
put you
this.
like this then. Put you like this then. They keep putting in people who are not up to the task, as we always been saying this. People who have no idea how these characters work, how these characters operate, and they don't even do their due diligence to take the time to even learn how these characters operate, let alone even work.
Ye- and
It's a
what
complete. It's basically what happens when you put somebody who don't want to do the job in a job, and unfortunately, you don't always know who that kind of person is. That's completely unfortunate. You don't always, unless you really are really good at reading people and reading body language, you're not going to know who's not up for the task all the time and who's not really going to be there for to do the job, who don't even want to do the job. And this is and we've always said this about Marvel. We said this about today's media and their conglomerates. They're hiring people who don't even want to be there or who shouldn't be. Well, rather, they're taking this opportunity to be there to do whatever it is they want when they give them the reins to do so, which is push that message as the drinker like to call push the message. It's getting out of hand. Is at this
un,
point,
un,
like I said, it's time for our fans to abandon this whole thing where they can edit, they can censor it, they can change it. Like good example going back to Star Wars, making a Star Wars short where Leia is in every fucking event of
Mm-hmm.
all the male
Mhm.
mhm.
characters. What sense does that fucking make? Where for her to be everywhere all at once? To be at the Battle of Hoth, to be at the Battle of Endor. Yes, she was there, but she wasn't in there in such a way that they're depicting her, which is she's leading the charge. She's
Yep.
always leading the charge. I'm
Yep.
saying like you know
Mhm.
what's funny about you motherfuckers is that you don't even know how war works. You don't even know how a battle works. You don't even know how people lead a war. It's not always you have to throw a woman in to lead a like in war you always gotta have the best people in this kind of line of work. You really have to have the right kind of people, or at least not necessarily the people that you think are the right people to do this. You gotta have people that have the skills too to
Oh
be
yeah.
able to be able to win a good a good fight, win a war. You're not gonna throw in somebody who has no battle experience or combat experience and put them in the position of general. Fuck all that. That's what
Mhm.
I'm losing steam here. Losing my train of thought now. You think we should start wrapping it up now?
When it's up
Time.
of like what are
Oh, all right. Just getting back to the censorship, though. I mean, we all pretty much are in agreement of what censorship is doing,
Well,
and
before we even shut this down, I gotta talk about the censorship that been on my mind lately a lot. which
Go
is the
ahead.
censoring of Aunt Jemima, Uncle Ben, and all other kind of products. Even the Red Sox. They what do they call Red Sox now?
I don't
Did
know
they
what the
change the
name of
Red
them.
Sox yet? Because I could have sworn that I heard they were changing the Red Sox name because apparently that's offensive now.
Mhm.
I know the Redskins got changed. What do they call
Yet,
Redskins now?
yet,
They're not. I don't know what they're
Red.
calling the Redskins now. They're
I
calling
thought.
them. They're calling them
No, it
Indians
sounds
anymore.
something generic.
I,
Well, that's the thing.
yet,
It's so generic. I
yeah.
can't
No,
even remember it.
I felt I, I remember like they announcing the new name like some time ago, but yeah, it's been a while since I looked into that story. However, remember like what's funny about that is the Native Americans like never had an issue like with the football team's like name at
That's not
all.
until recently they started bringing that up, but that probably until recently.
It's
Now
like
Yeah,
I'm
like
it made no damn
like
sense
the Native
because these motherfuckers never even fought a fight.
Hmm.
I
nope.
don't think Ryan Justice ever been in a fight. I don't even think J.J.
No,
Abrams has
you
been
know
in
who?
a fight.
You
Only
know,
thing he
no,
knows
no.
how to do is ship battles. But you know what? He even fucked up ship battles too. Somehow.
I'm gonna tell you
Somehow he
what
lost his touch.
I'm gonna tell you what Ruin Johnson was in a fight. Okay, he was in the fight, but he was the guy who got beat up consistently, got the crap kicked out of him, and now this is his ultimate revenge.
I was
Hmm.
thinking the same thing, Scooney, and the
So
same
it's
thing
almost
for
made
J.J.
like making
Abrams.
people run away, making good guys run away.
Uh
Because
huh.
all they seem to do in Last Night is run the fuck away. Except for Ray, she ran to the fight. But the thing is, she also ran away too.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
I agree. The same thing with J.J. Abrams
That's
and for
the thing
Taika
I'm sick and
Waititi.
tired of. I'm sick and tired of all these motherfuckers running away from a fight in these damn
Yeah,
movies.
They
Like
they're
this,
here.
this is basically them speaking. And whenever I see shit like this, I'm seeing people in YouTube comments bopping this shit. Oh, this will really happen. Like people will really run. Like, well then, yeah, be a coward. Okay, fine, be a coward. That's what
That's
you know.
another
What
thing that I'm
I
But,
you know
noticing.
what our embarrass of America. You know, American bears. I welcome these motherfuckers at this point.
people
I wouldn't even look to y'all motherfuckers to even protect my ass or protect, let alone protect our country.
because
I'm even gonna say
like
this.
people have fought tooth and nail like in different battles and wars, and and, it, and there are casualties from both sides.
There'll
absolutely.
always be casualties on both sides. Now, who
Yeah,
tells the
because
better story?
like no matter
That's
the
up to
vic,
the victor.
Well,
yeah,
that's also
like
another
no,
problem that I have with this is another form of censorship that we're getting here too. Is that oh what is oh god I just lost my train of
oh
thought.
yeah, that's true. Neil started South Park poked fun at that.
Yep, in Washington. Yep, exactly. But
There's also there's also another censorship that really just oh my goodness, this is really got on my nerves because it's coming from the critters themselves. Self
Yeah,
censorship.
yep,
Specifically,
yeah,
my 2 cents towards Spielberg, always freaking changing shit up in his fucking products, going the way of George Lucas. Oh my goodness, what was dude? Seriously, you really have a problem with police having guns in their hands in
Oh
front of
my
some
God.
kid?
Amen. What in the
yeah.
world was
But
he thinking?
dude,
but
like
to
Yeah.
his
you know what?
credit, to his credit, he put it back.
He did.
Thank you.
It
Now I can
Yeah.
yeah
actually go out and buy ET proper.
yeah.
That's what kept me from
Yeah,
owning
I was
ET
happy. I
because
was
he was
happy.
censoring it.
Yeah, I was happy he put the guns back like in the movie because like that's what it was shown back then. And I remember
And
like
what's
Not
when it
even
funny
was
that,
is
it's just the
censored.
fact that cops carry fucking guns.
well, not only that, what's hilarious is the fact that South Park made fun of that too. Steven
Yeah,
Yeah, they
Spielberg
did.
is
Yes, I
re-editing
I'm glad they
all of
did.
his movies with walkie-talkies. Saving Private Ryan with walkie-talkies.
Mhm.
well, somebody must have whacked some sense into his head and said, "Steven, this is stupid. Put the guns back in. Nobody's going to care." Because
We
for a
called
long
him
time,
George
I didn't own,
Lucas.
and George Lucas too. For a long time, I didn't own ET on Blu-ray because that's not the movie I saw in theaters. I don't want to see
Like I
them
said,
holding walkie-talkies.
it's not really about the movie that I saw. It's the fact that no fucking cop is going to go out of his fucking cruiser with a fucking walkie-talkie as a weapon. That just don't happen in real life.
That's
Right.
it.
Mm-hmm.
That was it. That was it. Sorry. Um, this new form of censorship too is coming in the form of realism. They are saying like realistically this wouldn't happen. Realistically Luke Skywalker would not be the hero. Realistically, and I'm like and they're saying like
For realism.
realistically if anybody had the power of Superman, they would be as evil as the Homelander. And I'm immediately
Yes.
Like,
saying,
get
okay,
out.
first
Like,
off,
get out of here, man.
that's a postmodernist outlook. You do not know what every single human being on the planet would do if they
You
had Superman's powers.
you
You are
you
just
also
First,
looking at it through a
first of
you
very
all,
also
cynical
no,
lens.
that's what
you also don't
you would
you
do
also
if you had Superman's powers.
also
Right.
realism realism is not what you think it is or means. You're applying it in the wrong
No,
context.
true realism is okay, first off, the audience is willing to suspend their disbelief, but now you have to ground it out and make it believable. For example, Denis Villeneuve's Dune, okay, takes place in a fictitious future with spaceships and all of that. So, what did he do? He grounded the whole movie in reality, but could still make us believe in the magic of the Benny Gesserits and all of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Yep. I
Or
totally
spark
Doom was
agree.
already
or spark.
grounded in its own way within the book. That's the thing. He just he just brought that groundedness to life.
Oh
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Let's just say that he brought that groundedness to life. Doom was already set in a way where things could still things could still appear in that future without looking completely out of place. That like I said in our Doom discussion, like he somehow made that freaking bull not stand out, stick out like a sore thumb. I don't know how the fuck he was able to do that shit. Cause I remember listening to the lore thanks to Nerdy Cookies and about the bull being the Atreus heirloom and all that stuff, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
was like,
Mhm.
and I to me, I half expected the bull not to show up at any point in that movie, and then I see the bull. I'm like, oh, there's the bull, and somehow it does not look out of place.
Well, and that's the thing too, because just before the bull, what is the Atreides motto? Here we stand, here we remain. Like, and the bull becomes a metaphor. When you face down the danger, you stand firm and you stare it down, and that's what
Here
makes
I
the
am.
bull.
Here I remain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, here I am, here I remain, and that's what makes the bull metaphor all the more powerful because what is bullfighting? Okay, you think, oh, bullfighting is just simply a man battling a bull. No, it is about how who's really in control of the fight. Is it the bull or is it the man? And
Mhm.
that's
Mm-hmm.
what and how
Mhm.
it
Yep.
ties into the allegories and
I'm
how it's tying into Dune in general is are we the bull or are we the man? And that's what the Harkonnens represent. The Harkonnens are the bull, and the Atreides are the man.
gonna swing back to the Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima censorship.
Mhm. Go ahead.
'Cause that's another thing that
Well,
really
first off, those
man.
were milestones in and of themselves too back in their day.
And
Yes.
yet they select them
Yep.
to be changed because somehow they're offensive. And I
Yet,
and I was thinking
how?
about this too today while I was at work. I was thinking about this too today. It's like let me like I would like to ask these motherfuckers that spoke out about this that decided to change this shit. Did you create a pool to give to black folk to check off whether it offended them or it was not an issue to them whatsoever about Aunt Jemima? Did you even
Or
ask the people who this so-called syrup is oppressing? Did you actually go out there and ask like at least like 50 numbers of people, black folk, I mean, in every state, to ask them did Aunt Jemima offend them in any way, shape, or form, or did you somehow convince them to think that this was the right way to go?
hmm, or do or better yet, do you even know the history of Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima?
I was gonna get to that, but I'm like my thing is somehow I'm like I kind of get a feeling that they did somehow convince certain numbers of black folk to think that that was offensive, and that number was just sufficient enough for them to want to change it now.
A
It
lot
didn't
of the
matter. It didn't matter how many people that they got. It's just they need a sufficient amount to really justify changing that shit. And I told you this long time ago when Leia asked why they did that or what y'all was like. No, no, no. The real truth of the matter is that these motherfuckers do not like competition.
Yep.
No matter
No, they do
who is
not.
their competition. No matter
And
who their
what do
competition
Uncle
is,
Ben
they
and
don't
Aunt
want it.
Jemima represent? They represent a cog in their narrative machine. I mean, not a
And you
cog.
know,
I'm sorry, a complication in their narrative. Okay.
but you know where I get in this, why I'm saying this. Y'all want to know why I'm saying this?
Why are you saying this?
So they changed the face of Uncle Ben's wheat, right?
Mm-hmm.
hmm
Yeah.
They took a black man's face off and replaced it with a white meal building.
Uh-huh.
Think about that for me. If y'all really want to think the way how these motherfuckers think about it like that. They took a black face off the cover, but look at the picture that they go for this time. Yes, it's generic, but think about the coloring. It's white.
Mm-hmm.
And it also got white clouds in the background. And it also got white wheat in the foreground.
Mm-hmm.
hmm
What is it also called again? This time? Somebody remind me. Somebody remind me. What is it called this time?
What
Uncle
the
Ben.
rice? The Uncle Ben's.
Not Uncle Ben's. It's not Uncle Ben anymore. It's something else.
What is it?
I forgot.
I forgot. I
I'm
just
asking y'all. I'm legit asking y'all. Like, do y'all remember the name that they go for with this time? Something
I
meal,
stopped.
meat meal, or some shit like that.
I stopped buying Uncle Ben's after they did that. So, and
All I'm saying
I've
is,
never, and cream of wheat never tasted the same to me ever again.
Aunt Jemima was a tradition in my house growing
Yep.
up for
Yep.
years. None of
Oh
us
yeah.
ever sat at that table like we were woofing down those pancakes about, I
Oh,
hate the fact Aunt Jemima looked like nobody cared. We just loved how good the pancakes
you know,
were. And yes, with the syrup. That's
she
all
had a
that was.
face
Yep.
that people could associate with food. It was like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like grandma's cooking.
what next? They're gonna
Yeah.
remove the
Yeah.
Mexican bitch off the
That's
damn bananas now.
Oh,
Yes, the chiquititas.
What
Chiquitas.
next? You
Yes.
gonna okay? Let me ask you this: y'all gonna go to every fucking Mexican product and remove that shit off because somehow that's fucking offensive now? You mark my words. They gonna do that shit next because
I
that
don't think we should
Latinos
give
don't
them
want
the
to be called
chance.
Latinx. So it's like y'all don't want to be called Latinx. We're gonna take away y'all fucking Mexican, y'all fucking Spanish products and shit. Remove your tequilas and all that, man.
hmm
I
Man,
don't think we
I
should give them
swear.
the chance.
Oh, I know the Mexicans ain't gonna give them a fucking foot inch. You ain't
Good.
gonna touch my shit. I see what y'all did with the black folk. Y'all ain't touching my shit. Fuck all that. We ain't importing our shit over so y'all can fucking remove our faces off the damn product and put with your white product on it
They're
because
not doing.
somehow you have a problem with it. I suppose y'all gonna remove the camo off the fucking smoke boxes too because apparently that's harmful to the animals.
And
Yeah, that bitch.
yeah, the taquita banana lady. Yeah, and don't
You're gonna
forget.
remove that shit.
hmm And don't
But
forget the liquid margarine.
God forbid, we don't fuck with Pringles.
That's very
But they
true.
probably gonna remove him off that shit too because he looks like an Italian. That's gonna be offensive to Italian. Bitch, I've seen Italians eat fucking Pringles.
Hmm.
Ain't no one time gonna look at that shit and say, you know, that looks like me. I'm offended now. I ain't never picked up no damn Aunt Jemima and said, you know what, I find this fucking disturbing that this black woman smiling back at me. She was like
My
my
house.
mama, motherfucker. What the fuck why the fuck you want to get rid of Aunt Jemima? That look like my mom on that damn picture. On my grand
Yeah.
I one time thought that was my grandma when I was a kid.
That's like not going to Wendy's because Wendy is white
And she's got red hair.
and she has red hair.
Yes.
I would laugh my ass off if somebody would literally say that. They will not dine at Wendy's because there's a white bitch on the damn title.
Or what? They'll
Mhm.
change it. She has red hair. Let's give her braids or an afro. Now we
They
got
make
one.
her androgynous.
Yeah. Uh-huh. One of the things. One of those two things right there.
Oh,
Uh,
There,
how long
right there
before
too.
Burger
I
King
almost
becomes
forgot about that. What
problematic?
William said right here. What William said right here. A lot of these removals reek of not wanting to pay for royalties to the families of the original model. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. You have to know that too about censorship. They claim that they're improving the lives of yada yada yada, but in reality, it's just cheaper.
yes.
Yeah, we lost Dominic. He'll be back.
You'll come back. Oh, absolutely. I was going to say, yeah, in my house, Aunt Jemima, it just reminded me of happiness, of family, of warmth, getting up in the morning, smelling my mother cooking the pancakes. She had the pancake box
Why would
on
you
there.
remove good art too?
Yeah, William
I
Sub, I
know
just
that
want
was
to
a
say,
drawing. That
did
was
they
a
get rid of
drawing.
did they get rid of the Land O'Lakes lady? Did they take her off, the Indian woman?
I
Oh my
think they
goodness.
did.
That's
No,
how
they're trying. They're trying to. They're trying to. They're trying to cancel the Land O'Lakes butter.
Oh, that's ridiculous. Man, that's the only way I can find it in the store. My mother said, get the Land O'Lakes butter. Oh, yeah. She always said, get the lady with the Indian on it. Okay. I didn't see that as offensive at all. But back to your point, though,
Oh, they did.
about censorship, Wolf, in
I
this,
think they did. I think they
they
removed the Land
did.
O'Lakes lady.
Oh, that's
Yep, William confirmed it.
stupid.
No.
That,
Now where am I gonna get my butter?
yes.
I think I think I ran to a stick of it and I didn't see shit on it.
It's the only way I could find the butter in the store. When my mommy said to the store to get the Land
Shit,
O'Lakes
that's the only way
butter,
I can find the proper raisins, the type of brand name raisins with the lay with
red bonnet
the
on.
grapes. Yeah,
Yeah,
red bonnet.
yeah, the grapes and the red bonnet. That's how I was able to find the butter in the store. She said, "Get the
You know
Land
what?
O'Lakes butter,"
You know what? They might take a face off because faces are offensive.
and she looks like a woman. She's too
No, no, no,
feminine.
no. I'm talking about on every fucking product. It don't matter whether it's a brown skin, black skin, white skin, yellow skin, whatever. They want to remove all the faces because faces now are offensive. What for? What for this time? Because they're shaped in such a way that you don't like.
Knowing they're
They
thinking,
want
well,
they're gonna be like the fucking host, not the Korean movie, but that fucking Stephanie Meyer bullshit shit show.
oh yeah,
And and the movie the movie that came about with it, where in that world there's no such thing as a label because everybody's been taken over by the aliens, so like that don't mean shit to them. It's like a lot of places have absolutely no fucking brand name except for the specific name that it is: warehouse, truck, book. Which is a unique concept, but the thing is, Stephanie Meyer does not know how to keep to her fucking concepts.
doesn't know how to write either. But you're right.
We can talk about more on that some other
Mhm,
time. But the thing is, like my main issue with Stephanie Meyer is the fact that the bitch can't commit to a concept
mhm. I follow
to
you.
save her fucking life. She commits to drama. So I'm sitting here thinking like, bitch, why don't you wear a fucking drama? Because at this point, if I was writing your fucking Twilight book, it wouldn't be about a fucking werewolf and a vampire. It'd be about a fucking gay best friend trying to save his freaking friend from a abusive boyfriend. Because that's how I see.
Exactly.
That's how I saw. What's his face? The werewolf boy. I'm putting that in air quotes too, because I ain't no real werewolf. I know a real werewolf when I fucking see one.
I
That's a
think
shapeshift.
I felt the same way. That was not a true
That shit that
werewolf.
happened to turn to a damn wolf. Fuck off, Stephanie Meyer. You don't know how to write
Well,
fucking
exactly. And the
message
problem
and
is
all that
too
shit.
is that it was because of Stephanie Meyer may not have
She
been
doesn't even
the
know how to write fights either.
Stephanie Meyer may not have been the
Mm-mm.
she was one of the lead. She was one of the reasons why entertainment went the way it did.
Yes, you're right. And she doesn't understand
One
the
of.
lore of vamp. She doesn't understand the lore of vampires or werewolf. She has no
But but
concept
but I
whatsoever.
will say this. But I will say this. I do kind of. I tend to be a little lenient on her. I tend to be a little bit lenient on her, not because she's a Mormon or anything like that. It's just she's a woman that didn't know what the fuck she was doing
Not because
at
she's
the
a
time,
Mormon.
and she got rich off of it. So
I
I'm
know.
gonna respect her on that one. I'm like, look, look. I'm gonna tell you right now. You can't write for shit, and you don't know what the fuck you're doing. But you know what? You got rich off of it, and I respect
Yeah.
you for that.
Child of the Flower, that's coming. I guarantee you. One of these days they're going to be doing it. They will come after the Colonel.
Oh, they are working on that
Oh,
already. Yeah, I'm scared. Yeah, they working on that. Yeah, they will. They are going to come after him for sure. They will. They are going to come after that.
I
And
mean, look, man. Like at this point, they
And by the
live and
way,
starting to become reality too.
I'm going to say this too. Norm Macdonald, God rest his soul, was the best Colonel Sanders.
yeah,
That's
I agree with
things are
you.
looking good.
I did too. I thought he was great too as well. I agree with you on that. Wolf, I was
That's
going
the
to.
thing. That's the thing, though. It's just the fact. Who the fuck, Negro? Do you got roaches in your house?
Thought me banging.
What's in your house, cuz? I'm asking Schooner.
What?
Scooty?
Wow, this microphone really can pick up everything. I was just tapping.
Oh God!
Right?
It sounds like you're
Like,
beating.
what are you doing? Fighting roaches?
No, minnows. They're just zipping, they're just zipping
Go
by
ahead,
them.
finish what you're saying. We'll prepare to wrap it up. We'll pick this up another time, Leia.
Well, I'm just saying, one of my favorite things because Stephanie Meyer, it's so hilarious because there's this scene where he says, "And here we have our wonderful literature class," and the teacher's banging her student's head on the desk, going, "Twilight isn't literature."
What were you about to say, Leia?
I was just going to say to you, when you were talking about censorship of Aunt Jemima, it reminded me, Disneyland or Disney World, or one of them is truly censorship because they took out the Song of the South, Splash Mountain, and replaced it with The Princess and the Frog because the Song of the South is now problematic. So they did censor. I don't think Disney
I got
Plus
a
runs
problem
it
with them calling
anymore.
it problematic. I don't mind them changing with Princess and Frog because Princess and Frog is still black.
No,
However,
but I don't like how they're treating Song of the South because I don't think that's a racist story.
yeah,
I
that's
think
my
the
that's my
problem,
main
yeah,
issue.
Mm-hmm.
and that's another thing too. The song of the see, and that's the problem. They're trying to censor "Song of the South," but by censoring it, it's a denial of the past. Look,
Not to, and not
it's
to
an
mention,
uncomfortable.
not to mention,
I
like
want to
song
breathe
of the,
fire, but the truth is, I'm doing Animal Crossing.
I mean, not and not to mention, like a song of the South is covering a portion of American history. In this case, the Reconstruction era after slavery was abolished in North America.
Yeah, it's getting to the point where
Well,
I'm
the North
starting to
side.
think. It's getting to the point where I start to think like, yeah, they're rewriting history, but they're also trying to hide from they hide from history because they're scared of it.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's another thing too is that just like Huckleberry Finn and Tom Sawyer. Look, a lot of people want to censor those books, but Mark Twain. Here's the thing, though. Mark Twain grew up in the post-Civil War South, okay,
Mm-hmm.
and it was not an ideal time.
Yeah,
Correct.
Okay,
yeah,
and that's an unfortunate. And the two protagonists that they say, well, we don't want Huckleberry Finn because at some point on this page the N word is used, and I'm just like, yeah, because it's an escaped slave that Huckleberry Finn befriends.
Mm-hmm.
He's a
Also,
runaway. He's a runaway slave, and they don't
also,
let.
Mark.
They say, well, the subject matter is so problematic, and I'm like, that
What's
is
problem?
post Civil War South. Okay,
Yeah. What's
that's
problematic about
history.
that? You must have forgotten Mark
Bitch, this
Twain.
ain't no
Mark
motherfucking
Twain
Muppet
was against
Babies.
Mark Twain was against racism, and through Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn, he was poking fun at the absurdities of he was pointing out the absurdities of it all post Civil War during the Reconstruction era.
Yeah, yeah, that is true. Song of the South. And
Yes.
come on, everybody loves Zippity Doodah, Zippity Egg.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yes. I
Yeah.
sing that song
They
all the
played that
time.
song in media ads of Disneyland. So I
Yeah,
don't know
man.
what they bitching about.
Everybody
No,
did.
Man, I'm reminded of that fucking meeting in freaking RoboCop 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It also did Roger Rabbit before Roger Rabbit, mixing live action with animation.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
loved it as a kid when I first saw it. I loved it, and I was singing
Yeah,
along
me
with the
too.
songs as well. I was singing "Zippity Doo Dah" with a big smile on my face and dancing around the room. I didn't find any of the
I
offensive
personally
Yeah.
about
didn't
it.
really
So
care
like
for
so
it
the
that
thing.
much, but it was fun
Well,
for once I watched it.
and it was also important because the tales of Briar Rabbit and Brother Bear,
Mhm.
Brother Fox,
Yeah.
those were
That was-
mythologies that came from Africa and were told from slave to slave to
Oh
then to
please, man!
yeah.
I hope, man, they're gonna feel. You know that's gonna make them feel completely stupid
Yeah.
That was
if
great.
we ever told them that shit.
Well, the
Yeah.
tale of Briar. Well, and
Briar
it's also
Rabbit.
very important historically because the tale of Briar Rabbit was what led to the creation of Bugs Bunny.
Yeah, man.
Exactly. Yeah, because he was a trickster type of guy. So
Mm-hmm.
that was your early influence from that. Song
Yeah.
of the South was truth. It's not Bridgerton where you give a false history of people, although
Yeah.
it doesn't give a
I mean,
false history of that.
I saw the trailer for Bridgerton, and I don't have anything against the people involved who made the project. However, this is just it's just not a good TV show because like you would deliberately you're deliberately changing history instead of showing it like it is.
Exactly, I agree, because that's the reason why I don't watch. I tell people because they're giving a false representation of history, particularly for Black people, whatever you want to call it. That's a false representation. I'm sorry, 17th, 18th, 19th century, Black people did not have a lot of power, whether you like it or not. So you're giving a false sense. You're
They
telling
didn't
a false
exist
sense
in
of
that
people.
era.
Yeah, so you're telling a false sense of history out of your own, either you're jealous or hatefulness or whatever of that culture, and so you're trying to appropriate it to fit you. But now you could, that's kind of how I feel. I think the lady Sandra Rhimes said that she was saying, well, how come Black people don't wear the dresses like Marie Antoinette in the French court of Versailles? Because there were no Black people at the French court of Versailles at that time. That's why you don't see them looking like that, and that's not the society that they had. So you're telling if when you do that, you eliminate the civil rights movement, because you're basically saying we didn't need that movement because in the past we already were treated that way, and that they really don't realize you're doing more destruction than good. If you wanted to do a story about a Black people, you did the story of Alexander Dumas, the man that wrote the Three Musketeers. Great story, great story. Nobody wants to tell it. Great story of who he was.
It took us.
Oh yeah, or sure.
It took
Or
us
if you want,
60, maybe
to do
70 years to do an Emmett Till movie,
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
or
and
way
I'm
if
longer
still
than it should have been.
I'm on the fence on watching that one. I'm kind of on the
Mm.
fence on watching that one.
Well,
Why?
and this is the problem with the censorship now too, because we are not getting historically accurate, like you guys were saying, Black representation. Now we are getting very censored versions of it.
Or they
Yes.
pick the
Or
ones that are
well,
the
in
worst
other
part of
words,
history and try to code it like the Dolomay movie that's already came out.
well,
Are you
they
talking
want
about
to
the
try.
Woman King?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say,
Yeah,
oh, you just wait till
which
that
of
comes out.
course,
Oh boy.
I mean, of
Remember,
course, like
there's
it's very laughable because like if you know history, and not just U.S. history but world history, you realize that like Africa Africa is composed of not only of numerous tribes but also they were enslaving other Africans.
Absolutely. Yes. That's the story they don't want to tell. And they don't want to tell that many tribes were in war with other tribes. They try to pick Africa as all warm and brotherly and family like, but no, no. Many other tribes slaughtered or went to war with other tribes to conquer them. And Dominic, as you said, they helped in the slave trade by capturing other Africans to become slaves. They don't want to tell that story.
And what
well, and it's not just
like
that.
again
It
like
wasn't just
slavery was a practice that was done by any and everybody back then before
yep.
abolitionism came to
Man,
be.
willful ignorance is an all-time cancer at this point.
Well, and just like what you and what Dominic and Leia were saying, it's that it wasn't just Africa that was doing it. Asia, they had slaves. The Native Americans had slaves. Okay, it wasn't
Hmm.
just white European. It shows that
Vikings
the
they had
Vikings,
slaves too.
the Vikings did it. So I'm just saying, slavery is a human.
OJ had slaves.
Slavery is a human issue. It's a human. It's a human problem. It's a human. It's a humanity issue.
And I feel the woman king will, Scooty, you're right about that, will not show that. I fear the woman
Mm-hmm.
king is going to get a narrative that it's the evil Europeans, but they're not showing it as a human issue. They just want to show that the evil white male human Europeans, but not what you just said. It's a human thing, and that movie's not going to show that. I guarantee you. I can already tell that's not
Yeah.
what they're going to show.
Well, and it's even more terrifying is that say what you will about the European slave trade, just look at the oh crap, look at the slave trade that was going on in the Middle East.
Mm-hmm.
That
Oh yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
holy, I'm
which
just
like
reading.
got which
I was reading Thomas.
like got the ball, which helped get the ball rolling of the slave trade.
I was listening to Thomas Sowell of the Middle Eastern slave trade.
Yes, yeah, me too.
Jesus Christ.
I know.
Yeah, want
No,
to talk
it's
about
really.
slavery another time?
Yeah, slavery
Yeah,
another
yeah,
time.
we can.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
But that's
I do want.
but this
I
ties
do
back
like
to the main.
want to talk.
This
Whoa, whoa, whoa,
well,
whoa,
this
whoa. Let
sorry.
Dominic speak.
Okay.
Yeah, well, hoping like before we end things like we do touch on censorship in manga and anime. Anyway, especially with like again like with what we've been seeing with dubbing studios as well as trans as well as localized like translators because we see because we've seen like time and again that either dubbing or the translators like are changing the original context of the manga or anime series from the source.
Agreed. Yeah.
hmm
Scooty, what did you want to say?
I was just saying that this ties it. The whole slavery thing ties into censorship because
Hmm.
we are blotting out instances of history,
Yeah,
and
I mean
Not to
heck
mention they're getting rid of World War II because they're scared of World War II.
the North. Yeah, yeah, like heck, I'm like let's briefly go back to slavery. Like the Northmen, like it show it shows slavery like as it is. And as for World War II, too, like it was it's complicated and nuance like in that period of time because like the people involved it wasn't completely black and white. Why like there were different shades of gray with individuals like who are like truly white or truly black. But if you really look into the history like from like the Axis and the allies, they operate in different shades of gray.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Like
And speaking of
for example,
war, go
for
ahead.
example, like in Germany, not everyone was on board with Hitler and the Nazi Party. Yet you don't hear that many people talk about like the resistance occurring in Germany.
Hmm.
Like yes, like we all know of Schindler from Schindler's List, but what about the other unsung unsung heroes who were part of that resistance, like within Germany when the Nazi parties were active, or even other individuals who were who were part of the acts part of like the Axis, like maybe maybe like they also were not also did not like what was going on, and consider like they were actually forced to partake in it, because if they were to actively resist like openly, they would not only get executed, but also their friends and families would be hurt as well.
Oh
Yeah,
yes,
Also,
you would be.
uh,
Yeah, you would be shot.
also
You'd be shot.
what not I mean people don't talk about is like Jewish people back then, they also like sold out their own people to the Nazi party.
oh
Not
yeah.
every Jewish people, but some, yeah, they did that.
History is not made to be a fairy tale. Okay,
Cushy.
history has to be has to be uncomfortable sometimes.
History is truth. And is that truth pretty? No. Is that truth ugly? Yes. But it is still truth, because the point is to learn from it so you don't repeat it. If you
Yeah,
censor it and hide it, you learn nothing and you just doomed to repeat it over and over again.
Yeah,
and
That's
it's not.
yeah.
And history is not replete with terrible things. There are wonderful things that come from
Oh
history
yeah,
too.
yeah.
The accomplishments that came. I mean, uh, there was I mean, the Wright brothers, Tesla, Thomas
The Har-
Edison,
the Harlem Renaissance,
yes.
The
and also
Globetrotters.
and the Ren- and the Renaissance, and also of course like the early, the high, and the late Renaissance.
Yeah,
Like not
and
history is not always ugly. I mean, there is beauty in that.
and the history of, I mean, funnel cakes,
Funnel
the
cake.
Mhm.
delicious the delicious creation of funnel
Victoria,
cakes.
you're correct.
Yes,
Braveheart
it is not.
is completely historically inaccurate. It
Yes, but
is romanticized historical fiction.
it's Mel Gibson. Come on.
What are you gonna say, Stu?
It's a it's a fun movie in spite
Yeah.
of the historical inaccuracies.
The one thing they did get historically
Mm-hmm.
accurate is that they did show what cavalry fighting looked like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I didn't think
Ugly.
I would. That's why it worked. It wasn't
Hmm.
pretty or glamorous. It was ugly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes.
Also, also like if also like for any work of fiction, be it literature, movies, or TV show, like if you were to like
Ah,
have it set in.
that's the Patriot, not Braveheart. Child,
Um, Braveheart, they were fighting the British.
were they?
Yes, they were. They were
Yes.
They
fighting
Yes,
were,
the
they were.
weren't
British.
they? I
It was
forgot.
the
Yes.
Scots
Mhm.
Look
fighting.
at, look at, look
But
at me.
I am.
Look at me getting it wrong.
Well, here's the thing. But you're not wrong. I mean, Mel Gibson made two movies where he's fighting against the British. I'm like, I think he doesn't like the British very much. But then you got to remember, he was born in the States, but he was raised in Australia, and Australia was the founding of Australia was not a slave, a prison colony,
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
a
Right.
backwater prison colony for the British.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, they're kind of harboring some resentment there. I think they're still a little sore.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
they're on a
but again,
fucking
but
land where
not
everything
every.
out there is made to kill your ass.
Yeah, I see some of those animals in Australia. Holy
Yeah,
crap!
like not every. Yeah, like not every Australian like holds like those strong like angry sentiments like towards the British. You
Well,
can
they can't
understand.
since they got fucking animals over there that can kill your ass, not maim you, not nimble you, not numb you, kill. K-I-L. Kill.
Uh,
I come
yeah.
from a land down under.
I would go there to meet me Daisy Cousins and shake her hand, but I'm sorry, Daisy. You got animals there that will kill my ass. You
Crocodiles.
got ants
Yeah.
with stingers.
Crocodiles and
and tarantulas.
eagles.
I don't give a damn about no damn crocodiles, Leia.
They'll
I
kill
can
you.
run from a crocodile. I'm talking about ants will sting my ass in my own
What?
backyard.
You also got ants the size of your finger up there.
Wait,
tarantulas that are bigger than your hand.
Yep.
Yes.
yeah,
I'm not
they
going
get
Yeah.
to.
caught a fucking backyard in the rural part of Australia. Trooper showed me this shit.
I will
Okay.
not
I
sleep.
seen webbing that covered a fucking crop. It looked like snow.
Okay.
I said,
Getting
my wife
And
walked in
that's
there
the
and she
moment
said
where
it looked
you're
like
like,
snow. There ain't no snow. That's spider webs.
Oh my
well, it's
god.
official. I'm never sleeping
okay.
again.
Yeah, I remember
Well,
seeing
it's
those
official. I'm
pictures,
not
but
sleeping anymore.
well, getting back on track. Like if you're like if you ever work in fiction
I'm
that
surprised
is
there ain't
set
no
in.
dolphins there.
All
Are they
right,
not?
we get it.
They got the manta rays there. They got the man. They got jellyfish there that will kill your ass too.
Okay,
Big
look.
ass jellyfish.
All right,
Everything big over at
we get it, man.
Australia.
Australia,
What the fuck you
Australia
got in
has.
your soil?
We get it, man. Australia has animals that can kill people. But
I
getting back
know.
on getting back on track. Yeah, like history is both beautiful and no. Well, I want to bring this up like with censorship. Like, if you have a work of fiction that is set in the '60s and you want to counter the counterculture movement, and you'll be so like the romanticized edition and stereotypes of what happened in the counterculture movement instead of what actually happened back then. I mean, we know like Cat and Ishiro, especially Ishiro, they would share like what the hippies like who the hippies like actually were and what they did, well, also like what the counterculture movement was actually about, and not because like not everything, not what was presented to us in literature as in movies and TV shows like are not completely accurate.
Oh
Heck,
yeah.
heck, like even the tie-dye shirts, like they weren't really popular back then until like years later. Because like actual hippies just wore regular clothing.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And they didn't shit on themselves.
Yeah, that
No,
I
they
did not
didn't.
know.
No,
Yeah.
no, they did not.
Nor they repurpose their shit either. Sorry, without a paddle, you got hippies wrong.
Yep.
I'm,
But it
sup-
was a funny scene.
I'm
Well, that movie was not made to be taken seriously. That was a
that is
stereotype.
true.
Okay,
That
that was
is
a.
true.
I don't know why, but I just thought it was. I just thought that movie was funny.
One of these days we're gonna talk about stereotypes
Hmm
again.
We got to talk about good stereotypes and bad stereotypes.
Yeah, cause
Because believe
look,
it or
sir.
not, there are actually funny stereotypes.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
So like to anybody listening, stereotypes are not in not well not necessarily inherently, but they're not always a bad thing.
They're
You
not
can fuck them
always
up
meant
really
to
bad
be
though.
insensitive either. They're meant to be sometimes for comedic purposes or to deliver a unique bit of commentary.
Of course, we have to acknowledge
Like
that they
like
weren't
Simpsons.
always like that back then.
Nope, no, no, no,
Mm-hmm.
no. That's true. That is very
Like
much true.
Simpsons and anyone the
Yep.
care like the
Mm.
people of Springfield, they are composed of different stereotypes, and yet it's like they're not just the stereotypes, they are their own fleshed out fully realized character.
South Park is like that is stereotype galore.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's hilarious is that they take a lot of the stereotypes and they decide to run with it. One of the best bits. Oh my god, one of the funniest things ever, but it's so terrible. Remember the bit where they're making fun of Christian rock?
Yeah.
And they say Butters, I need you to play not Butters. Token.
You get your
Token.
show.
Token,
Yes.
I need you to play bass. And he says, but Cartman, I don't know how to play bass. Token, you're black. You can play bass. And he says, and he's like, I don't know how to play bass. Just play. I don't know. And he starts playing bass perfectly. And he's like, and Token's like, what the hell?
Now that's a funny stereotype. Yeah.
Yeah, and again, like censorship, like turning this back as censorship, like they would also like go out of the way to censor stereotypes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. That's the scary thing. They will try to take that away. But some of it is quite very funny.
Oh, yeah.
Like you said, there's a good way to stereotype and a bad way to stereotype. If you know how to do it right, it's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not everybody, but some people are focusing are focusing too much on on the on the negative examples of stereotype, and not really like back how stereotypes is not necessarily not inherently a bad thing. It's how you handle it. Handle it. That's the story. That's the different story.
Like I had a coworker that was from Boston. I used to always tease him that, now you're not going to cast any spells on us, are you? And he said, what are you talking about? I said, well, you are from Salem, Massachusetts. So isn't that the land of the state of the witches?
Well, yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. He just laughed, and I said, "You are from Salem?" Yes, he's from Salem, Massachusetts. I said, "Well, you're not going to cast any spells on us, or you have any ancestors that are going to come get us in the past?" That's what you can say. Well, you're from Salem, so you've got to have some family ancestors that were hung, dumped, accused of witchcraft, or whatever.
or or
Or
look at the TV show Portlandia. It's filled with stereotypes of Portland, and yet they're not. Yet those stereotypes are not exactly wrong. I should know. I should know this because as a Californian, seeing the people over there who act as some of the characters from Portlandia.
Yep.
Absolutely. My parents are from the South, and they fit every stereotype you think about Southern people, but they're not embarrassed by it. They wear it very proudly, but they are, the accent, the
Yeah, the Southern drawl.
the Southern drawl. Yes, the Southern drawl. Because my mother has one. They have all of that. The Southern drawl is right there. So I tease them about it, but they don't. It doesn't bother them because they say, "Well, it's true."
That would be like saying. That would be like saying. Here's hilarious. That every Asian you meet suddenly knows martial arts,
or they're extremely good at math,
or extremely good at math. Oh man.
Well, everybody hates Chris. Like it touched on that. Like with Chris and Bernard, like they're trading each other like different stereotypes about their respective people, and it was hilarious.
I'm trying to think of any other states. Yeah, so there are some stereotypes that do work. As you can imagine, there are some stereotypes that.
Or what about Japan? It's filled with numerous of stereotypes.
Oh yes, yes. Some talk with a very hit accent, and some don't.
And surprisingly, not all white men can jump.
It's just like what I was saying about geek culture in Hollywood films. Sometimes I think they don't quite get it. They think all of us living in our basement don't have a life, and we just walk around all day quoting our favorite lines from movies, coming to our jobs, dressing like our favorite characters. I think they got it all wrong. So, are we passionate about our pop culture? Yes, I won't lie that I have a lot of memorabilia, but some of the stuff I think they just go. You didn't hear the drawing.
The Japanese like the stereotypes themselves like
Hikikomori, Gengaro. all that
Like,
stuff. But I'd
yeah,
like to thank everybody for being here. Those 7 of you and those other non-existent motherfuckers that keep popping in and out. I'd like to thank everybody for attending our discussion about censorship, all forms of it, especially the main one I was really pissed off about, mostly, if you can tell throughout this whole damn stream, which I'm more subdued than I ever am than I usually am when we don't really schedule in the regular schedule like we used to back in the days. But I'm trying, guys. I'm trying.
It's okay. You're
Work
human.
isn't really taking a toll on me at all yet. But man, I know you guys are missing the more energetic Wolf.
You started off pretty energetic tonight. You know, I know it's late now for you, but when you first got
Right.
started, the energy was there. We could tell the passion.
I think. Let me get. Oh wow. Let me get Schooner back in. I thank my comrades, the lovely Leia Valor, Leia Plus Size.
Hello, everybody. This is Leah Plus Size, your lovely lady of valor, and I hope you enjoyed our lively, vivid discussion about censorship. We may come back to this topic because it's become very vast, excuse me, and I think that the definition of it has changed in recent times. So we hope that we didn't tell you what to think, but gave you the ability to think about the things around you and what you consume. We hope you've given you that in a fun way. And if there's any topics you want to see us rant about or get crazy over, please let us know in the comments. I'm sure we'll appreciate that. And I want to say have a good evening to everyone and see you in the next show.
The Hound of the South, Donick Powell.
thank you everyone for joining us in tonight's discussion as we talk about censorship among other literary topics that revolves around the same subject. If you got any more topics that you want us to discuss in the future, put it down in the comment section down below. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe to Wolf 10 Media's channel. And like Liz said, there is a chance that we're going to touch base with this subject again in the future, depending on our commander. And since we talk about the changing of definitions, that is another form of not just censorship but also revisionist history and everything else that entails. This is the Hound of South, Dominic Powell, sounding off. And remember, even though things are getting dark, just remember there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Never lose hope and look into a brighter future, but never forget the past and live the present.
Schooner the Tuna, Schooner Tuna.
Coming at you live from a secret government facility buried deep underground, but has excellent Wi-Fi. This is Schooner Tuna. And always remember, if you don't like what you're seeing on TV, well, then just make it yourself.
Damn
In
right.
other words, people
Yes.
don't hate watch on some things that you don't like, and just share the things that you love.
Amen on that.
Support a creator too while you're at it. Still trying to create this
Mhm.
comic that I'm writing. You guys can if you like my content, my art content, those furries that I'm speaking to mostly, you can check out my Patreon in the link description. You know, the prices
Check out the
are
wolf.
set in
Check
stone.
out check out the wolf stuff. He's got some great things.
I will be updating it pretty soon as well, so keep a close eye on that. But this is your Wolf Commander Wolf 10. Remind you guys once again that you are the one Spacey Wolf Squadron. Sorry, the Wolf Fleet. Oh wow, I'm really untired. Fucking up my damn ending line.
Take your time. You want to try it again?
Yep. Speaking with Commander Wolf 10, once again remind you guys, you are the UN Spacey. Welcome to the Wolf Fleet.
Now, can you please help us?
And can you please back